So we've got a special group joining us tonight from Yuhua Secondary School. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. Mr. Zulhilmi, Mr. Zul, one of the teachers there, I believe, has some students who are going to attend tonight's Q&A. So that's great. Welcome, everyone. We'll be starting in 3 or 4 minutes. If anybody wants to post some initial questions up on the comments, you can do so that we can kick things off. Zul, hi, welcome. Yeah, so you can type in your comments and I will flash them up on the screen, and then we take it from there. So it's an open session. There's no strict agenda, and I will do my best to answer anything that's thrown at me, anything to do with running. Okay, so welcome anyone who's just tuning in. I'm Jeff from Total Running Club. This is our Ask Coach online Q&A session, a chance to test me out with any questions you want. Hopefully you're not testing me, hopefully it's things you want to know. I will do my best to answer. You're able to ask anything you want, and yeah, we'll start a discussion from there. So we're going to start off in a second. If you want to type me a message, you get a shout out, then I'll be happy to do that. Hi, Liu Wenyen. Nice to have you here. We've got a few students from Yuhua Secondary School, so I hope there's some good questions from you guys. Okay, so let's kick things off. We're going to start with question. This came from Rati. Hi, Rati. This is a great question. So Rati is explaining that she suffered from shin splints in the past, particularly when building milage. She has purchased customized soles, which looks like it's helped. So Rati's asking views on buying an insole versus expensive cushiony shoes. Good question. So anything with shoes it's always very personal, isn't it? So there's not really a right answer for everyone, but I think customized orthotics can be a very good solution. I certainly don't recommend buying an off-the-shelf orthotic. That's unlikely to help you because it simply won't fit your foot. There's technology now where you can mold an orthotic that really customizes to each of your foot, and your left and right will probably be different. And then you just slot those into your shoes. So you take out the insole of the shoe and you slot it in. The great thing with that is it means you can wear different shoes. So you can still wear a speed shoe which has less cushioning, and you can still wear a cushioned shoe, for a longer run where you're not pushing. So that for me is the major benefit. You don't have to rely on one shoe type. I mean, an expensive cushiony shoe may or may not help you. All a cushion shoe really does is protect your heel. In my experience, shin splints means tight calves. It means you probably got tension in your calf, which translates to inflammation on the front of your leg. So what is causing that? It might be an imbalance in your body. It might be a severe heel strike, which is punishing your calf. So it's hard to answer if an insole will solve that versus a cushioned shoe. But sounds like it's worked for you, so that's great. What I would say is go easy with the orthotic. Don't suddenly wear it for everything. So transition into it the same like you might transition into a different type of shoe. Hopefully that's of some use. Okay, Azrael, nice to see you again. Okay, this follows on. I was taught training cushion shoes to avoid injury. Race 5 and 10 in minimalist. Well, again, it depends on your experience. It depends on your physiology, and it depends what you've been training in. There's no right or wrong answer on that. Of course, the pro runners are are racing in pretty lightweight racing flats. So training cushion shoes, yeah, definitely have some cushion shoes for your easy runs and your longer runs, maybe anything over an hour. But you do also want to get your body used to lightweight shoes if you can, especially if you're going to be racing in lightweight shoes. So for me personally, I like to mix it. I like to wear different types of shoes, and just be careful using one more than the other. But I think you have to see what works for you. But the old adage is true: don't try anything in a race that you have never tried in training. Okay, there's a follow-on question about the shin splints. How do we deal with shin splints during our daily training? Do we ignore the pain and go along, or do we decrease? Good question. Yeah, I mean, shin splints is painful. It's not pleasant, and it's not something you can really just ignore. It's one of those little niggly injuries that can linger and linger, and it can be very frustrating. So in my experience, it's best to get rid of that before you continue your training. It's probably one of the types of injuries that you don't want to continue running through. So just let that inflammation go down. Might just take a few days, might take a week, might take longer, but you need to get to the heart of that, solve that before you continue training. Personally, I wouldn't encourage you to run through that one. Okay, here's another question regarding injury. How do we deal with knee pain? Has already been there for a month. Is there a solution? Very difficult question to answer that one, Mohammed. There's 100 reasons which may cause knee pain, and it's pretty common for runners. So we want to find out what's causing it. Might be something on the back, might be something on our hips. It's probably unlikely to be something in the knee itself, actually. I think knee pain, you can kind of struggle through it, but if it's a severe, sharp pain on every stride, not good. And yeah, you probably do need to back off. If you've had it for a month, then something's not right, and you need to figure out what that is. It could be your shoes are knackered. It could be you're carrying a bit of extra weight and it's putting big pressure on your knees. So maybe you just need to walk, run. Could be something to do with your technique. So hard to answer that one, but always listen to your body. Our body tells us when there's a problem, and just like a car flashing light, you probably shouldn't ignore it, because eventually you'll get stuck on the highway. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, if we have extra time a particular day, thinking of training twice, how would we train? Should the intensity be normal or light to avoid injury but improve performance? Okay, good question. So double training, double runs, or double workouts is a great way of squeezing in some extra mileage or some extra intensity. It's probably a good idea it's definitely a good idea to balance what you're doing. So it would not be a good idea to do a hard session in the morning and a hard session again in the evening or the afternoon. I like to put an easy run in the morning and do a harder workout in the afternoon. With my own training, I've built up to do doubles. I could probably cope with about 4 doubles a week. If I had more time and I could sleep more, I could do more doubles than that. But yeah, you have to be careful with that. There's a risk of injury for sure. But if you're rested and you have the time, go for it. But just be very, very careful. Don't suddenly jump from 3 runs a week to 6 runs a week. You're taking too big a risk with that. So build it up gently. Patience is the key with running training. Avoiding injury is our top priority. So double runs can work, but be super careful with them. Of course, you can add in gym sessions. That's always a great thing, or cross training. That's much less, puts less pressure on the body. So a swimming session or elliptical session, no worries at all. You can probably do that every day if you have the time. Strength work, definitely. So yeah, that would be my advice on that. For long distance runners, what should we do to improve our time? Higher intensity during our daily runs or increased mileage? Okay, good question. Depends what you mean by long distance runners, but let's assume it means 21k and above. Yeah, everyone sort of thinks, well, I'll just focus on mileage, but you do need to focus on speed. But it also depends on your ability level, it depends on your experience, it depends on your physiology. But when I'm training someone, I like to get their speed up first before working on the endurance. So there's no point, for example, jumping from a 21 to a 42 and just adding more easy runs. You want to get the 21k time quicker first. So a block of speed would work well. What kind of speed work? Same as we do for any distance. It might be intervals, might be fartlek, might be some tempo run, probably some hill work, anything which gets the heart rate up, gets your cadence turning over so your feet moving quicker, anything which shakes you out of your comfort zone. So we should all be doing speed work in our training, regardless of what distance. If we're looking at high schoolers, as you are in this question, definitely got to be careful on how much distance we're doing, how much reps. Hard to answer that one generically. When we're coaching kids, we can, well, and with adults, we can play around with several variables. Obviously, number of repetitions, the rest period between repetitions, the duration of the repetitions, and the intensity of the repetitions. Those are the 4 variables. So same applies to kids and to adults, but start slow, build it up. Can you recommend my physiotherapist to give you a check? Not sure what you mean by that. Okay, so I think quite a few questions coming from Zul for his students. That's great. Thanks very much. Okay, so for those who have joined us a little bit late, you're welcome to our Ask Coach session. It's an online Q&A. Just type in your comment and we'll start some discussion on that. I'll try and answer it. Any questions at all? We're not focusing on nutrition specifically because we have a nutrition Q&A separately, although we can try with any basic ones. But let me just scroll up in case I've missed any questions. But in the meantime, please type it in. No, I think we've got all of them so far. So just coming back to you, Zul, so you're talking about cross-country. I think you're asking what kind of speed work to do. So cross-country, yeah, not so many adults do that anymore, although trail running perhaps, but specific cross-country for school might mean some hills, might not. Definitely means different types of terrain. Probably not an even pace run. So fartlek training is really good for cross country. So mixing slow and fast, getting the athlete used to running at different paces. Short interval work. So might be anything from 200-meter intervals up to 800 probably. Yeah, probably some hill reps, hill speed work, yeah, for cross country would be pretty useful. And train on the terrain that you're going to be racing at is probably the most important. So if you know the kind of courses, same as with trail running, you've got to practice on trail if you're going to race on trail. Okay, Hayati, nice to hear from you. How are you? This question comes up every single time. And I'm going to say the same that I say every single time. You don't really train to lengthen your stride. Sorry, there's no easy answer on that one. We're all built differently. our legs are a particular length, our hips are a particular shape. The best thing to maximize your efficiency of stride and also cadence is to work on your flexibility, mobility, and strength and running. So there's no shortcuts on this. It takes years to get to your optimal stride length. But probably the best thing you can do is stretching, yoga, strength work that involves lunging, for example, so you're really extending that stride, but lots of running to build that up, working your hip strength so that you can lift that leg, you can extend the leg, and that you can do it when you're fatigued. We can all do longer strides for the first 10 minutes of our running, but it's when we start to tire, and most of that's driven from weak hips, so work on your hips. Okay, what else have you got for me? Who's out there? Derek Young, are you watching? You're normally featuring. If you want to shout out, just let me know. So a few people have been asking me recently or regularly over the last 6 months. So there's no events at the moment. We're not able to race. Should we use this as a time to rest and recover, or should we be pushing higher mileage? How should we train? Should we train differently? So I think that's a good question. It's pretty multifaceted. There's lots of different components to that, but definitely don't use it as a time to rest unless it's just a week or two. Use it as a time to train hard. We've got less fatigue from not racing so much. We may have a different routine, a little bit more time at home in the office, maybe a little bit less commuting. So maximize that time if you can. But just like with Ramadan, maybe we'll get some questions on that, which is just around the corner. But definitely try and not cut out running during that period. So same with MCO, keep the running going, keep training as if you're racing. And some people find that easier for motivation than others. Some are missing races a lot. Okay, who have we got here? Kelvin. Hi, Kelvin. How often should we do running drills? How long? Good question. So probably most of us just do drills as part of a warm-up. Maybe not enough of us do that. So we definitely should do running drills. Let's refer to it as dynamic stretching. So stretching with movement rather than just static stretching. We definitely should do those before any intense session. So that should be once or twice a week as a minimum. Everyone should be doing a hard workout. Total Running Club's speed workout of the week, you should be doing that. It's free. You get one every week. You need to do your drills before that. You can be doing drills as part of your strength work. So a lot of the body weight sessions that we do practices running drills. You can do them as often as you can. There's no need to do them before easy runs. There's not really a need to do them before long run. But the more drills you do, the more flexible you will become, the stronger you will become. So yeah, do them as often as you can. How long should we do them? Probably takes 10 minutes to do a really good warm-up routine, a good set of drills, including strides at the end where we're doing 50 to 70 meters of fast-paced, sort of exaggerated strides. So we're getting the body used to fast running. So yeah, Kelvin, go for it. Do as much as you can, but as a minimum, do it before any intense session. Lou, very good question. I love this question. If we reach a plateau in our performance, is increasing mileage enough? It may be, but probably for most people it will not be. We're all creatures of habit. We all get stuck in a routine and we all tend to do the same, or there's a risk of doing the same training week in, week out. Maybe we run, for example, 40K a week. most of that's at the same sort of intensity on the same routes, and yeah, we stagnate. The body becomes comfortable with that, and you will reach a point where you no longer improve. Everyone will reach that point. You might be running 150k a week at a very good level, and you will still hit a plateau. You need to constantly evolve your training. So typically you'll need to mix up your intensity, which means the speed and the types of workout you're doing. However, if you're currently doing 20Ks a week and you progress that gradually up to 40, then for sure you will increase your performance. It's going to happen. But at some point you will then plateau again, and you will need to introduce speed work. So yeah, mileage is not enough in most cases. Okay, how to strengthen my child emotion and spirit during competition. What's your advice on it? Tough one to answer that, isn't it? I remember when I used to run cross country at school, and you would not believe it now, or I don't believe it now, but I used to run at the back. I was afraid of being uncomfortable. I used to find the slowest runner, and I used to run with them at the back. I just wasn't a competitive person at school, and I didn't push myself out my comfort zone. I actually trained quite hard, but in a race, I was timid, I was shy, and I'm very different now. I'm probably the most competitive person you'll find. So, but nobody coached me on that, and I didn't improve on that at the time. I think you shouldn't force people. Of course, you have to do it in the right way. Winning is not everything. Doing your best is, of course, very important, and enjoying what you're doing is very important. So I think it's hard to answer that one generically. I guess asking each individual after a training run or after a race if they felt they gave 100%, and trying to get that self-assessment is a useful exercise. We never know what talent is there and what the ability levels are, so it is important to try and push those boundaries. As a coach, I think there's a limit to that, and I think it's just important to encourage, see that people are enjoying it, and normally in most cases that will develop into starting to push and realize your ability. So training in a group, I think, is a good way to do it. And if I go back to my example at school, I mean, we had no structured training whatsoever, so there was no sort of competitive aspect to the training. So of course in a race I didn't get excited about being competitive, whereas now when I train, I'm very competitive even in training, and that works for me, and I think it works for most people. When people come to a group class, they enjoy running with other faster runners and slower runners. It helps you to find your ability. So hopefully that's of some help. But yeah, not an easy one, I think. Okay, we've got maybe 5 to 8 more minutes, and we'll wrap it up unless we're struggling. Okay, we're getting lots of good questions tonight. Thanks for these. So I often train in the morning due to classes. Tuition is the afternoon. I realize my timing in the afternoon is better than morning. So should I continue training in the morning? Yeah, good question. Everyone's body clock is different, and most people I find here in Asia prefer to train in the morning when it's cool. Personally, I don't. I like running in the morning, but I find it hard to push in the morning. But of course, all the races are in the morning, so you do need to practice some hard running in the morning, because Otherwise, you won't have practiced what you're going to do in the race. But no, I wouldn't worry about it at all. There's different benefits to training at different times. In the afternoon, you've got more control of what you eat, probably. So that's one of the bonuses. It's probably going to be hotter, so you have to be careful you're not emptying the tank too much. But there's also benefits of doing a bit of training in the heat sometimes. So I think just mix it, but don't stress about it. Will it slow your performance? No, not at all. Just be careful you're not over-tiring yourself due to the heat if you're training in the afternoon. Okay, running shirt question. You want me to choose a color for you, Hazro? I'm thinking pink. It might be psychological. I feel I can run faster sleeveless than with sleeves. No, I don't think it is. I mean, I almost never run in a t-shirt. You want to get as much air over your body, over your skin, and yeah, we need cooling, especially here in Malaysia. So your body's ability to cool is very important, and you don't want to be wasting your battery on cooling. You want your battery being used for running, for performance. So same as you wouldn't wear a hat or a thick hat, you probably don't want to wear sleeves, really. If you're just doing an easy run, doesn't really matter. But racing, yeah, you want as light a vest as possible. You don't want it to carry the sweat. You want it to feel as light as possible and as dry as possible. But not everyone likes wearing a vest. It probably doesn't make that much difference, but yeah, just go with what you're comfortable with. Okay, any last questions? If not, we'll wrap it up. I'm sure we'll get a couple more last questions, but thanks again to Yuhua Secondary School, if I'm pronouncing that right. It's nice to have had you here tonight. Good luck with your training. Yeah, Azro, pink one. Here's little Cookie. She's very fast. Hey, Cookie. Okay, so let's call it a night. Oh, one last question. You've got 3 minutes, so any last questions, shout now. How long does the warm-up take? How short is too short? Okay, so quick answer to that. When we do our group classes before a hard session, we're doing 10 minutes of dynamic stretching. That's pretty thorough. Some people find that very tiring already, but it's very, very important that you do that to get warm, to get your muscles loose, same as you must do that before a race. Minimum, I would say, is 5 minutes. Anything less than that, you're probably not. It's probably not doing what you're wanting it to do. But easy run, no need to just get out and run. You only need to do a thorough warm-up before any session where you're pushing your body. Okay, I need to get rid of that little cat. So thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Some great questions tonight. As always, we will make an edited version of this. We will list out the questions that have been asked. We'll index those so you can skip to those if you're going to play it back. So the next session is going to be in 2 weeks' time, which will be a nutrition session with Adele. And then I'll be back in 4 weeks for the next one, which we'll advertise. If you haven't yet signed up to our weekly community content, please just go to the website, totalrunningclub.com. Join our community and you'll get an email every week with some training workouts and with some other bits and pieces. We've got lots of new things coming. We've got a podcast. First one is out, and I've got an amazing one coming next. We're just about to record that. We've got music playlists. We're soon going to have some articles. We're going to have some coach tips. So we're evolving that. Please sign up for that. Please tell your friends. It's completely free. We're helping Malaysia get fitter and faster. How about that? Okay, good. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Good night.